It's a simple, unspoken law. To be a naval power, you need as many aircraft carriers as possible. And so it's no coincidence that the US is currently the undisputed most powerful nation in the world. Today, 1 in every 4 aircraft carriers in the world belongs to the US. Their total combined deck space is more than double that of all other nations combined. And the entire fleet is being led by a $13 billion beast so huge it is referred to as a supercarrier. Still, it appears some of these other nations continue to fight to surpass the US in terms of aircraft carrier capabilities. And in this video, you'll see all countries and all aircraft carriers to compete with the US Supercarrier. Number 13. Atlantico, Brazil. 21,500 tons, 18 knots, 18 aircraft, $105.8 million. Originally constructed in the United Kingdom for service with the Royal Navy as a landing platform helicopter, this ship was purchased from the UK in 1998 to serve as Brazil's sole aircraft carrier. Named Atlantico, the ship is armed with 16 guns, has a displacement of 21,500 tons, an operational range of 8,000 miles, can transport 830 troops, and host up to 18 aircraft at a time. Number 12. HTMS Chakri Narubet, Thailand. 11,486 tons, 25.5 knots, 22 aircraft, $336 million. The HTMS Chakri Narubet is Thailand's first and only aircraft carrier and the flagship of the country's navy. With a displacement of 11,486 tons, it is the smallest functioning aircraft carrier in the world. It has a range of 12,000 miles, can transport up to 675 troops, is armed with 2 machine guns, and wields 3 missile launchers. Due to its short deck runway, the aircraft carrier can operate only vertical or short takeoff and landing aircraft, also known as VTOL aircraft. Number 11. Juan Carlos I, Spain. 26,000 tons, 21 knots, 30 aircraft, $666 million. Juan Carlos I is the 26,000-ton multi-purpose amphibious assault ship aircraft carrier in the Spanish Navy. It features a ski jump to launch the STOVL aircraft it has on board, such as the McDonnell Douglas AV-8B Harrier II attack aircraft, the Boeing CH-47 Chinook, the Sikorsky SH-3 Sea King, the NH Industries NH-90, or the new Lockheed Martin F-35B Lightning II fighter aircraft. The $666 million electronic warfare-capable aircraft carrier has an operational range of up to 10,000 miles, a top speed of 21 knots, and can transport up to 913 troops at a time. Number 10. Izumo and Kaga, Japan. 26,000 tons, 30 knots, 28 aircraft, $1 billion each. Japan has 2 helicopter-carrying destroyers of the same class being converted into aircraft carriers. They are the Izumo and Kaga vessels, 2 $1 billion 26,000-ton floating bases armed with a minimum of 12 F-35Bs, 7 anti-submarine helicopters, 2 search and rescue helicopters, and a variety of other aircraft. Number 9. Giuseppe Garibaldi, Cavour, Italy. Giuseppe Garibaldi, 14,000 tons, 30 knots, 18 aircraft, $1 billion. Cavour, 33,000 tons, 29 knots, 30 aircraft, $2 billion. Italy has 2 aircraft carriers of roughly the same class but different generations. The first is the Giuseppe Garibaldi, Italy's first through-deck aviation ship and the first Italian ship built to operate fixed-wing aircraft. The 14,000-ton vessel costs about $1 billion, has a range of 8,100 miles, and can cut through the seas at 30-knot speeds. Italy's second aircraft carrier is called the Cavour, a $2 billion 33,000-ton vessel that can transport up to 450 troops at a time. It wields up to 11 guns and launchers and hosts a fleet of up to 30 aircraft, including the Augusta-Westland AW-101 helicopter and the F-35B Lightning II. Number 8. CVX, South Korea. 45,000 tons, 27 knots, 20 aircraft, $1.8 billion. The CVX is South Korea's first ever aircraft carrier. It is currently under development, but the $1.8 billion 45,000-ton aircraft carrier will feature an axial flight deck similar to those used by the older Tarawa, Wasp, and America-class ships of the United States Navy. When it enters service in 2033, the aircraft carrier will carry up to 20 F-35Bs, which could be substituted with future marine attack helicopters of the Republic of Korea Marine Corps. Number 7. INS Vikramaditya, Vikrant, India. 45,000 tons, 30 knots, 36 aircraft, $5.2 billion combined. India has 2 aircraft carriers leading its navy. The first is the $2.9 billion INS Vikrant, which is the first aircraft carrier to be built in India, while the second is the INS Vikramaditya, a $2.35 billion aircraft carrier. Each vessel has a displacement of 45,000 tons, a top speed of 30 knots, carries about 1,500 sailors, and wields up to 36 fixed-wing and rotary-wing aircraft at a time. Number 6. FS Charles de Gaulle, France. 42,500 tons, 27 knots, 40 aircraft, $5 billion. Charles de Gaulle is the flagship of the French Navy. The ship is the 10th French aircraft carrier, the first nuclear-powered one, and the only nuclear-powered carrier outside of the United States Navy. All other aircraft carriers are conventionally powered. This French carrier is also the only non-American Western aircraft carrier to have a catapult launch system, which enables it to operate a wide range of aircraft. As a result of these, the Charles de Gaulle is a $5 billion 42,500-ton aircraft carrier with unlimited range, a top speed of 27 knots, the capacity to carry up to 40 aircraft, including the NFH Cayman Marine, AS-565 Panther ISR, AS-365F Dauphin Pedro, and the Rafale M E-2C Hawkeye. Number 5. Liaoning and Shandong, China. Liaoning, 61,000 tons, 32 knots, 40 aircraft. Shandong, 70,000 tons, 31 knots, 44 aircraft. China has the second highest number of aircraft carriers in active service, second only to the US. The Asian country has 3 aircraft carriers, all in 3 different aircraft carrier classes. The first is the Type 001 class 61,000-ton Liaoning, which was bought from Ukraine after the dissolution of the Soviet Union. The second is the Type 002 class 70,000-ton Shandong, the first domestically built aircraft carrier in China. Both having a top speed of about 31 knots, the older Liaoning can carry up to 40 aircraft at a time, while the Shandong has a capacity for 4 more. Number 4. Admiral Kuznetsov, Russia. 58,000 tons, 29 knots, 30 aircraft. Prior to the launch of China's Fujian, Admiral Kuznetsov was the largest conventionally powered aircraft carrier in the world. It has a displacement of 58,000 tons, 28% less than the Fujian, and a staggering 55% less than the USS Ford. The Russian carrier can carry up to 30 aircraft at a time and travel at a top speed of 29 knots. The Admiral Kuznetsov lacks catapult launch systems and only uses an extra-large ramp to set aircraft up for ski jumps, limiting the types of aircraft that can launch from its deck. Number 3. Fujian, China. 80,000 tons. Other info, classified. The brand new Type 003 class Fujian is the largest conventionally powered aircraft carrier and country's most advanced aircraft carrier in all of the East. The Fujian is the only aircraft carrier in the East to feature electromagnetic catapults and arresters to launch and slow down aircraft respectively. Although, it features only 3 launch systems as opposed to the US's 4 per carrier. With a displacement of 80,000 tons, it is the largest aircraft carrier in the world outside the United States. Only launched a few months ago, the Fujian remains a mystery, with not much information released. But what is known is that aside from a conventional propulsion system, it is a strong contender against the American supercarriers in virtually every department. Number 2. HMS Queen Elizabeth, HMS Prince of Wales, United Kingdom. 65,000 tons, 32 knots, HMS Queen Elizabeth. 25 knots, HMS Prince of Wales. 65-plus aircraft, $9.4 billion. The United Kingdom has 2 aircraft carriers in service, both of the Queen Elizabeth class. The lead ship is the HMS Queen Elizabeth, followed by the HMS Prince of Wales. They are both the largest non-American aircraft carriers in the West, and with a combined cost of $9.4 billion, the most expensive too. Both vessels are 65,000-ton monster machines that can each carry up to 1,600 people and over 65 aircraft across an 11,500-mile distance. The aircraft on board these carriers include the Chinook, Apache AH-Mk1, Merlin HM2 and HC4, Wildcat AH-1 and HMA-2, Merlin Crow's Nest AEW, and the F-35B Lightning II. Twin-like as they are, however, the HMS Queen Elizabeth, with a 32-knot top speed, is significantly faster than the HMS Prince of Wales, which has a top speed of 25 knots. Number 1. Ford Class, U.S. 100,000 tons, 30 knots, 75 aircraft, $13 billion each. It all boils down to this: the most powerful aircraft carrier class in history. Each aircraft carrier of this class costs a hefty $13 billion. With 10 carriers planned for the class, that's a total cost of $130 billion. Multiple times more than the combined cost of every other aircraft carrier mentioned in this video. The lead ship of the Ford class, the USS Gerald Ford, like its siblings, has a record-setting displacement of 100,000 tons, an actual supercarrier. Powered by 2 Bechtel A-1B nuclear reactors, the most cutting-edge engines created for use on water, the supercarrier can sail for 25 years at a go without refueling, has a peak speed of 30 knots, and power the livelihood of over 4,500 people on board at a time. The supercarrier can carry up to 75 aircraft of whatever form, shape, or size, including unmanned aerial vehicles, both the F-35B and F-35C, and many others. This versatility is made possible by electromagnetic launch and arrest systems so advanced they could support 4,100 takeoffs and 16,500 arrests before faults. Without aircraft, the USS Ford is still well capable of protecting itself. It features 4 missile launchers, 11 guns, and could be the first aircraft carrier ever to wield laser weapons. In addition to the Ford-class carriers, the U.S. has the Nimitz-class carriers, which are of smaller size to the Ford class and also more powerful than any other aircraft carrier in this video. With 2 classes of invincible supercarriers that glide through the waves, carrying with them the hopes and dreams of the world's most powerful nation, the U.S. remains unrivaled in terms of aircraft carriers. However, according to experts, the supercarriers would get even more powerful if you subscribe to this channel and give this video a like. So do that now, and thanks for watching.